How to save a drowned baby yellowfoot tortoise. 42 grams these guys are. If you're interested, finding out a lot of information, click through. Okay, so we've just had a little emergency here on the phone. Initially, when we found the baby tortoise, he wasn't breathing, he was completely lifeless. So we went into emergency resuscitation. We knew what we had to do. We had to get this baby tortoise breathing again. And there's a couple of techniques. First thing you got to do is you got to get the water out of his lungs. So one of the things that we did was to actually, his head was just hanging out, was to pull his head out a little bit and compress these legs back, which will compress his lungs and force some of that water that's in his lungs out. So that's one technique. I've also tried pushing a little on his, see here? See how his head is moving? This is actually like forcing him to breathe. And I just use inertia and gravity to try to get as much of that water out of his lungs as we can. That's what's critical. So once we got that done, we have to get him to start breathing. So, okay, so we've just had a little emergency here on the farm. This little yellowfoot was just found upside down, and he wasn't breathing. He's doing a little bit better now, but I just want to give you a quick show. What I'm doing here is look at the water coming out of his lungs. See it there? I know it looks brutal, but this is, see he's picking his head up now. Come on. Wow, he's really in trouble. I can't believe it, but I've gotten so much water out of him this way. So once we got that done, we have to get him to start breathing. So it's pretty much the same procedure to get them to start breathing when they don't have that water in their lungs. And that is, again, you're going to take the head and the legs, you're going to push them in and pull them out. Push them in and pull them out. And that's how you can create the lungs expanding and contracting, so you can get some air moving inside there. And then another important thing that we did was we got him on oxygen. We built a little oxygen tent and we put him under there. What I'm going to do is we need to put him under there for a few minutes. Nothing happens. We get out. We go through the resuscitation process again. We put him back in with the oxygen, and then I could see every so often he was coming around. He was taking another breath. So there's a lot of video on this. You can check that video out. It shows you in real time actually what was happening there. Quick primitive air tent here with my oxygen generator. Just kind of get this guy watching, give him a chance to just gonna let him sit there a minute. He's gone through a lot of trauma. Here with him a little bit, and I've got the oxygen now up to 70%. And he just took a breath a second ago. But he looks like he's improving. Come on, little guy. Oh, there he goes. And it looks horrible. That's what they look like when they're dying. But you got to realize this is coming from not breathing. Yeah, it seems he's coming around. More controlled breathing. You know, this is one of those things that I talk about. You know, it's easy here. You know, you can get an oxygen generator like this for $500, and you keep these tools, you know, on your operation in case these things happen. I have all these different kinds of equipment for doing different types of things, and you know, we have bags so for bagging tortoises down or iguanas down. You know, as a breathing apparatus. So, you know, all different kinds of sizes of tubes and things like that to get in the GI or go up the vent or, you know, get down in the trach or, you know, whatever you're trying to do. But, you know, you require all of this
this different equipment, and it really helps you save some of these animals that you otherwise just don't know what to do with. You know, you've got to get your equipment, you've got to have your supplies, you've got to get a relationship with a vet, guy that, you know, doesn't nickel and dime you on every time you go in the office, but a guy that works with you, you establish a relationship with. And those are the types of things that are critical in achieving these larger collections of tortoises. That's what I found over the years. You know, you have to network with some other people, and as well as your vet, establishing a good relationship to help save these animals. So he's starting to look more like a normal tortoise, but you know, I still see a lot of weakness in his head. See when I'm moving, how the head shakes around like that? I know this tortoise is really weak. So I'm just going to continue with what I'm doing. I can actually see him breathing there now. So I'm going to get him back in his little chamber. Oh, you see when I tap him? You see how his head isn't shaking back and forth anymore? No, he has the strength to stabilize his head. So that's a big difference. Before, when I would tap him like that, his head would just kind of roll back and forth. He's got good posture. Got those legs out where they should be out. So, I guess we're about 4 hours into this now. And let's see if I can keep. See him breathing? He has a regular respiratory rate, so that's good. He still looks a little adamant. Hey, what are you doing with your arm up? Huh? Why do you have your arm up? Huh? You coming back to Earth? Not you, doggy. Stop it. He's looking better here. Oh, you can still see the egg tooth on him there. It kept him warm, kept the oxygen on. A lot of times these little animals, a lot of animals will just suddenly relapse from either drowning or being overheated. So you'll get them back, and then they'll crash on you. You got to be careful. Yeah, I can see him drinking there. See his neck moving in the back? Look just behind his shell there. Try not to disturb him, but so I'll let him sit there for a little bit. Follow up on our little drowning victim. You can see right there on the side of his beak, there's a little bit of green. As I walked up, you know, I disturbed him. But he is eating, so he's coming along fine. I think he'll do great. So folks, be diligent, watch him, make sure he continues to breathe, or you may need to stimulate him every so often. Watch that he's sitting properly in the oxygen tent, and keep him warm. These guys got to be warm, not too hot, nothing over 90 degrees. I probably think 88, 89 degrees is really where you want to be, 88 degrees, when you're trying to resuscitate an animal that has drowned. So, like I said, be diligent, watch them. In this particular incident, we actually had crews, and we stayed up all night long just to make sure he was right. Because a lot of times, initially these guys will start to breathe, and then they'll suddenly crash on you. So you got to kind of be waiting for it. So this was a happy ending, and I hope you liked that video. I hope it helped somebody out. I've known of a lot of cases of people where the tortoises have drowned, have no idea how to continue from that point. I hope this video provides that information. Take care, folks.